First of all, people get the wrong idea about flat Earth to begin with, because when you Google flat Earth or anything like that, you try to look it up, it's always going to be some shit like, oh, flat Earther debunks himself, or then you go to Google Images and it's like a flat disk in outer space, which like I don't believe in, like with water falling off the edges, like some shit that doesn't really make sense. It kind of makes you go like, that's probably fucking stupid, and then you don't look into it. So it's like, first of
Yeah.
all, but that's not like my point or anything like that. The point is they're the ones that tell us the truth, quote unquote. What they say is the truth. They say that we are on a ball. That's what they teach everyone. So it's like, okay, tell me more about this ball. So you look into it and then you start testing the ball and like seeing if it is curving. They say that that's the way that spheres work. They say that we're on a sphere, first of all, and the way that spheres work is that they curve. So
I need help on site.
you look into how far can I see on a globe?
Last two heaven.
Planted.
Yeah.
One enemy remaining.
So if you
Shots.
Google,
Other one was heaven too.
if you Google how far
Okay.
can I see on a globe, it'll literally say that the physical limit of our distance of how far we can see before something is too far on the ball. Because just picture it. Just imagine you're standing on top of a sphere. You can't see under the ball because it's beyond the curve, right? Like you can't see under the ball if you're on top of a ball, right? Because it's too
Yeah.
far beyond what you can see. So anyways, the limit, the actual numbers that they say on Earth, like if you the official mainstream numbers, is that if you're 6 feet tall, the physical limit is 3 miles out. So people were like, huh, that's weird. They go to the beach, they go to the ocean, they go to long lakes that they know are longer than 3 miles. And if you can see the other end of the lake, then you're seeing further than 3 miles. So what's that about? People went to a lake that's 28 miles long. Bro, imagine a lake.
Let me know when
and
he's
it's
done.
Imagine a lake that's 28 miles long. You're at one end of the lake. I'm at the other end of the
Yeah,
lake.
me
We're
too.
both standing up. We're both standing up, and you're just shining a laser pointer forward, and it's
Ah,
hitting
much
me in the
better.
eyes because there's no curvature. They say that I should actually be 200 feet lower than you. According to the globe curve math, if you do 28 miles, it says 192 feet drop.
Just one over there. Oh,
So it's like, that's fucking weird. And then guess what? You go even higher, there's no curvature. There's no curvature no matter what, basically, unless you're looking at, again, like NASA
One enemy
propaganda,
remaining.
movies. In movies, it'll cut to pictures of the globe in space or videos or whatever, but it's computer generated bullshit. They just tell it that that's real and that's happening, but it's not.
I fully agree.
So it's like,
oh way.
another
65
one
on him.
is the motion of Earth.
Heaven with a fucking vandal.
Our default human bodies don't detect any motion on Earth. Like, that's just a fact. When you're outside and you're just standing still,
Except
like
for
the ground under
65.
you isn't moving.
Good shots.
The ground under us isn't moving. Only the clouds are moving. The sun is moving. The shit above you's moving. Down
That's not
down
bad.
isn't
Low-key
moving.
zoned out.
Up is moving, and that's it. Like, that's just what your body says. But then the scientists say, well, actually, it's a lot more complicated than that. It might not feel like you're moving, but actually you're moving in all these different directions. You're actually spinning at
Yo,
1,000
let me
miles an
buy you
hour.
some, like, an actual gun.
They're telling us that Earth is moving at all these crazy speeds, like when it's not to our senses. Our stars haven't changed for all recorded history. Not to mention Polaris. Okay, think about this. On Earth, doesn't matter what you believe. For Earth, globe, whatever. There's a star, Polaris, our North Star. All of our compasses point to this star. So it might be special. So what's special about this star?
Funny, man.
Polaris is special because it's never moved for all recorded history.
Got 2
Okay.
okay. sands.
So that's some pretty cool Earth lore. Just think about that. There's a star in the sky that's never moved. Ever. And yet they say that Earth is flying through space at 500,000 miles an hour.
Spike down
CT?
A.
That shit.
So 1 to 10, how confident
Good
are
better.
you that you are on a
Any
globe?
vandals? No.
I'm on Earth.
You're on Earth. So what is Earth? Is Earth moving?
Last player standing.
Earth is something God made.
Great. And so you believe the Bible? What about when the Bible says that the Earth is on 4 pillars? The Earth is unmoving. The Earth shall not be moved. The Earth is unmovable.
I was
Like
the first female made. I didn't
Do you
know where
believe in
history
gravity,
class,
bro?
but I got,
Dude,
I
define
believe
gravity,
in
bro.
gravity.
You define gravity.
bro,
Define
am I in
gravity.
history class?
Exactly.
Like,
I
no,
can
explain to
exact-
me.
Okay,
Like,
I can explain it to you completely
try,
because I've
alright,
actually
do
studied
the
and I know
pros
what I'm
and cons
talking
of
about.
why Earth and space is fake. Like,
Okay, the reason I say define gravity is to just expose the truth, which is that you don't fucking know shit about gravity. I'll tell you about gravity. Okay, are you talking about Newtonian gravity invented in 1666, 1666? By the way, if you believe in God, this satanic
It's
model
not
was,
invented. It was
let's just say,
figured out.
Newtonian gravity is mass attracts mass. That's what most people think gravity is. Oh, Earth is a big thing in space and it pulls things towards it and everything. The bigger you are, the more you pull towards you. That's what people think gravity is. Guess what? You'd be wrong if that's what you think, actually. You'd be retarded because Einstein completely changed that with the theory of relativity. So there's relativistic gravity, where they literally said, oh, the stars don't appear to move, except, oh, over 50 years, the stars moved 1 millimeter. Oh, guess what? That means that they're basically infinity far away and they're flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour and all of these fucking speeds that they use to justify. And then that's literally what you believe. When you know what reality says, if you just listen to your eyes, if you were born in the jungle today, you never went to school, you never even know what gravity was, it's just a word, right? If you just looked up, what would you come to the conclusion of? That the stars are in the same place always. And guess what? They've always been in the same place. Our stars are fixed. Polaris doesn't move. They've lied to you about the fucking world you live in, and it should be a pretty big deal to you. But instead, you're pissed at me because I'm interrupting Brown game that we're winning
I'm not
3-1
pissed at
anyways,
you.
and
I
we're
know,
fucking
but
carrying you in. So it's like, what kind of attitude is that? I can define gravity for you, bro. But first of all, we need to establish who really established the modern rules for gravity, because now they say it's the bending and warping of space-time, and that's literally from Einstein. So it's like, is Einstein really a smart guy, or was Einstein a fraud? Because if you find out that Einstein's a fraud, then that throws out the whole thing for relativistic gravity, right? So then let's get into the rabbit hole of Einstein.
Right,
Why is there a
okay.
book called 100 German Scientists Against Einstein? You can Google that PDF, because guess what? He worked at the patent office, which is literally where you have to go if you're a scientist. You have to go to get your idea patented to like protect it or whatever. He literally worked at the patent office and stole ideas from people. There's a book called 100 German Scientists Against Einstein. And guess what? Everyone thought he was a fucking moron when he introduced it, because he said, oh, these unmoving stars, what if instead of them not moving, they're moving really fast, but space is basically just infinity big? And everyone was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then guess what?
They're here.
All of Einstein's shit started getting popular, because who really owns the world? The same group of people, regardless what you believe, globe or flat. This is just a fact you're going to grow up and learn one day. The same group
What
of
group of
people.
What I'm saying.
I agree. I want you to say it though.
Yeah, well, you already know, bro. You already know it's the Jew, the Jew problem.
Yep.
You already know, because the same group of people owns
Yep.
all of our control to information. The same people write the
Bottom
textbooks.
side, Sage, dead.
The same people own Hollywood. The same people own politics. The same people own all the governments of all the world.
side.
Because you look into who founded all the countries, even, and it's some kind of Jew club called Freemasonry. It's like the Jewish elite. It's not just the everyday Jew just walking down the street, whatever. Those guys aren't really the problem. It's the elite. Like, there's a secret society in the Jews, and it's literally been here throughout all of time. This whole world has always been run by shadow societies. Why are both sides of America, left and right? It doesn't matter. Left and right is a bullshit distraction. Why do they both love Israel so much? And they show up on stage and they're like, Israel's the #1 ally. We gotta send them billions of dollars. Like, because guess what? It's a Jew-owned world, bro. It always has been. It's Jewish television you're watching. It's literally just shit that they show you on Twitter and shit that they show you on TV, but your parents believe it, and then you believe it, and then we just kind of fucking all get deluded into this fucking reality. Donald Trump's not the leader of the most powerful country on earth. He's a fucking guy on TV, bro. He's just a guy on TV. Joe Biden was just a guy on TV. There's no such thing as anything about the plot that they've told us, okay? Here's what I found. I found that growing up, they told me a whole bunch of lore about the world. I was just a fucking kid, bro. Part of the lore when you're a kid, by the way, is that Santa's real. Like, I'm just trying to say that to point out that
All 5 on site.
are born and we don't know anything when we're born, and they just tell us shit. And we just say, okay, I'm a kid, right? So my 4-year-old niece knows all the planets. Is it because she's a genius and she really reviewed the astrophysics and blah, 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 blah? No, it's because they just told her this is the way it is. Just memorize these words, right? She believes in dinosaurs. She believes in any old shit you tell her. She still thinks Santa is real, right? So it's like, we don't know better until someone tells us actually Santa is fake. It's this same idea about the lights of the sky. It's people speculating. Once you realize that it's just guys guessing, once you realize that all of modern science is just speculation, all this shit. If you look into like carbon dating, for example, it's total pseudoscience and bullshit. They've only been doing it for 70 years, except it's a process that takes tens of thousands of years to basically see any results from. Plus, there's all sorts of fucking holes and lies, bro. They literally, there's one guy, he sent 3 of the same rock from the same lot to 3 different universities, and he's like, can you get this carbon dated for me and tell me how old this rock is? One university says it's 12 million years old, one university says it's 100 million years old. So it's like, how are you wrong by fucking 88 million? I don't understand. If it's a science, right? Aren't you like, you can accurately measure the fucking level of whatever? But then guess what? You look into it and it's total suicide. So if carbon dating isn't real, they don't know the age of bones. So the whole dinosaur fucking story is gone. Evolution is completely gone. When you look into that shit, it's literally all pseudoscience, bro. It's just lore that they drop on us. They want you to think that the scientists have all the answers. Actually, the scientists know how old the universe is. They measure time backwards and it's 13.8 billion years old. How the fuck do you think they know that shit? We just learned that as a gullible little kid and we never really question it and we just accept the world the way it is. Simple as that. That's what I did. That's what you did. That's how it gets all of us, right? Like, I'm a human, you're a human. We're capable of being deceived, especially when we don't know any better because we're just little kids. Like, it's that simple. They tell you all this lore about shit. They don't know anything. They don't know anything about Earth. Guess what? Nobody knows what's in the core of the Earth. They tell you that 4,000 miles deep in the core of the Earth, there's a sphere, an iron sphere, and it's surrounded by lava and shit. I'm sure you've seen it and everything, sci-fi and all this shit, right? But guess what the deepest hole ever dug is? For them to actually go and prove it. The deepest hole ever dug is 7 miles. It's called the borehole in Russia. World record, deepest hole ever dug, 7.6 miles, the borehole in Russia. So they've dug 7 out of 4,000 miles deep, and they're trying to tell you they know what's deeper. They know what's 4,000 miles deep based on, like they say, seismic charts. Based on after an earthquake happens, they look at some stuff here at the surface, and they know what's in the core. Shut the fuck up. You're just some fucking nerd with a clipboard. You don't know shit. And guess what? They can make all sorts of predictions and speculate and stuff. It's fun to speculate. I'm glad we have people speculating, but don't start selling it like it's science and you know all the fucking lore when you don't, right? Because guess what? They were even wrong in their predictions of what they would find in the first 7 miles.
I don't think I got time for this.
Bro, they dug down 7 miles. It was hot, we're supposed to be cold. It was wet, we're supposed to be dry. They made a whole bunch of guesses. They were wrong on all of them. They don't know shit about what's in the earth. And they were literally saying that they were mining into some, like this liquid that was hardening, and it was like this rock that was plastic, and they couldn't get past it. There's literally Minecraft bedrock when you go down 7 miles. So it's like, they don't know shit about this place. And yet they tell us all this stuff as though they know all the answers. They've measured time backwards. They know when creation happened. They know it was from the Big Bang, which they can't explain. It's just lore. It's bullshit. It's lies. It's this whole Jewish world, bro. Guess what? Most people believe the Big Bang. Actually, modern science teaches the Big Bang. You already know about the Jew problem. The Jews have a mystic text called the Kabbalah, which is basically like their book of evil spells. And in the Kabbalah, the origin of life in the Jewish mystic text is something called Ein Sof, which is literally like the idea that from nothing came everything, and from one point expanded everything into infinity. It's literally the idea of the Big Bang and outer space and shit. It's just Jewish lore that they have now said is science, and they have all the goy. I don't know how much you know about the Jews, bro, because they call us fucking goy. The people that run this world, they call us useless eaters. The Jews. They call us useless eaters. They fucking hate us. We're enslaved to the Jewish dollar system. Guess who owns the Federal Reserve? So this place, who prints all the U.S. dollar bills that we go to work for? It's actually the Federal Reserve. Who owns the Federal Reserve? The government, right? Oh no! Guess what? You find out that the fucking government doesn't own the Federal Reserve. It's actually Israeli board of people that literally set up this whole system. And then they start all these fake Jew wars. All the wars you see are just lore on TV, bro. That shit's just on Twitter, and it's just on the news to try to scare you into thinking like, oh, well, I'm glad I'm not dealing with that shit. It's scary. But guess what? It's a fake war in Ukraine right now. It's Zelensky. Google this for me. Is Zelensky Jewish? Yep. Does Vladimir Putin have ties to the literal Jewish Russians, which have literally... Russia has been ruled by Jews, by the way, for like hundreds of years. Like, all the world wars are Jewish inventions. Even the Holocaust, when you look into that, people think, you know, whoa, buddy. The Holocaust was the meanest, worst thing that ever happened to anybody. Okay, buddy. Don't talk about the
Yeah,
Holocaust.
the
All I'm
Jews
saying
literally
is,
created genocides, dude.
dude,
They had much
exactly.
larger genocides against the Christians.
Exactly. When you look into like when was Israel even founded, it's after World War II because they said, well, look how they treated us during the Holocaust. We don't even have a home. We need a home, our ancestral home. We're taking over this land in the Middle East, basically, from the brown people. So it's like, but guess what? Hitler was a Jewish pawn, bro. The Holocaust was totally fake, which means that Hitler was part of the lore. And guess what? He has ties to the Freemasons too. And so do the Russians there. Because it's like literally all a
You're right.
story that they tell us. No Hitler, no Holocaust, no Israel. And the Jews wanted Israel. So they literally have to plan their own L's. And they've used the
The
Holocaust
shots,
as this immunity shield, basically, for hundreds of years now. They say, well, you can't talk to me like that. I'm a Jew. They did the Holocaust to me. You can't question me. And that's literally, and now they're at the top of everything. So all I'm saying is when you acknowledge the Jew problem, you're like, wait a minute. All of the lore and all of the history and all of the shit. I thought dinosaurs have been around for hundreds of millions of years. Here's a big one. Guess what? They didn't find the first dinosaurs till 150 years ago. And guess what? They've never found an intact fossil of a dinosaur. As in, they just find like a hip bone or like a jawbone and they say, oh, this was a velociraptor. We found a new species. They draw the whole rest of the fucking thing. They write a whole backstory for it. And they say that we found another dinosaur because they want to set up this timeline where you evolved and you're a meaningless speck of dust and you used to be a monkey and your ancestor was a strawberry. All common life came from one thing. They don't want you to think that like this is an intentional place that's just created. Again, the stars never move. This place is just a clock when you look up. If you were a jungle boy, you never went to school, you never learned any of this Jewish propaganda matrix. You were just born like all men were born with no fucking memories. You just are outside. You're in this world. How do I figure out what's going on? You look up. The fucking shit's moving, bro. The sun tells you the time of the day. The moon tells you the time of the night. The moon is also doing this weird thing where it's in phases. We only see one side of the moon. Why is that, right? Oh, they say it's like it's tidally locked to whatever, blah blah blah. It's just some fucking bullshit they say with gravity. Again, it's all back to Jewstein's gravity. They have a reason for why the moon is always facing us because it's tidally locked because of its gravity, which is a thing that no one really understands. But it's just science. It's just numbers. It doesn't really matter. The point is, the moon is a light. It's doing these phases. It's literally telling you that Earth is on a cycle, and it's showing you what the cycle is. It's a 28-day clock. It resets over and over and over and over. And the stars are literally ticking. There's a star that never moves, and everything revolves around that star. Which literally, when you look at it, you should look up Polaris time lapse on YouTube. You see the star that never moves, and you see how everything else revolves around it, as though you're watching the center of the night sky, and you're watching the whole night sky revolve, including the center, which is literally what's happening. Because the center of the night sky is above the center of our motionless Earth, and they've literally distanced us from reality. Like, it's crazy how simple it is. All this shit they teach us about gravity doesn't make sense, even with basic logic, bro. If gravity exists and it's the reason that I'm pulled down towards Earth, and it's the reason that trillions of pounds of ocean water are stuck to the globe while it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour because gravity is just doing that, then how come I can let go of a helium balloon and it just flies up? It can beat gravity. It's lighter than air. That's just how it works. If you're lighter than air, you'll float above the air, but it doesn't flow up forever because you can't go up forever. Because basically, the limit when you actually look at the distance of the world record of how high up we've been, it's about like 80 miles, bro. Anyone goes about 80 miles up, even Elon Musk's rockets. You'll find once they get around 80 miles, they're just blowing up. Why are they all blowing up? Why couldn't they go to the moon landing and they had to fake it, right? Because if you really look into it, the moon landing was, again, it's a bunch of Freemasons. That's like really the problem. The Jew club is called Freemasonry. And at the top level, they literally worship Satan. They worship the devil, bro. They're the most evil people. They're evil to lie to you about all this stuff. You know what they're actually doing? Bunch of Jewish blood rituals. Why have Jews been kicked out of over 200 countries throughout history? Guess what? In the 1500s, Spain kicks out all the Jews. Google when did Spain enter their golden age?
The year after, bro.
Literally. And guess what? In the 1500s is when they say that Spain actually sailed to America. They were looking for the fountain of youth. But it was actually basically Jews, crypto Jews that were kicked out of Spain. And then they came to America. And then they just started raping and conquering it and basically doing a bunch of evil Jew shit. And then they tell us, oh, well, actually, Christopher Columbus came and he held hands with Pocahontas and they taught us how to grow corn and all this shit. They've rewritten the lore to be whatever the fuck they want, right? Because when you look into it, George Washington was a Freemason. The fucking George Washington's tombstone, Google it. It literally says Freemason and first president. What is this guy doing in this Jew pub? Benjamin Franklin, Freemason. Everyone we ever learned about in school was a Freemason. Makes sense when you realize it's a Freemason education. The Rockefellers literally bought the U.S. Department of Education in 1908, like 115 years ago. So it's like, we never had a chance, bro. I'm not saying you're an idiot if you believe in the globe, you believe in dinosaurs, you believe in any of that stuff, because I believe in all of it, right? We never had a chance, bro. We were literally born into what I call the Jewish matrix, like the propaganda matrix. Everything we've seen from a screen is basically teaches us the lore in some way or form, regardless what game you're playing, what movie you're watching. Before every movie, it'll show you a globe, the universal globe. You can't avoid it, right? And it's just the way that human brains work. Friends just do what their friends do. We don't really give a fuck about this stuff in school. Not enough to learn more and debate it with the teacher, right? You're just a fucking kid. You don't even want to be in school. They woke you up at 8 a.m. That's how it works, bro. This whole Jew system. They know how to break you since you're 5 years old. They have made you get up, wake up, go to school, get dressed at 7 a.m. to go learn about all this shit, to go worship these Freemasons, basically. Oh, and by the way, all the men who landed on the moon, Buzz Aldrin, Freemason, Neil Armstrong, Freemason. It's like, there's a pattern here, bro, where these guys are just telling us shit. They own all of Hollywood. Kanye West and Jay-Z go on stage and they're doing Masonic, like Illuminati symbols. LeBron James, literally before, he has like his little ritual where he's doing all these Masonic, he's doing like the 666 fucking hand sign. It's like, sure, maybe I'm looking too far into this stuff. All I know is there's definitely a fucking cult that runs the world, and they definitely are like eating babies and fucking drinking blood and just like evil Jew shit, which they say that it's their religion, bro. They say that like circumcision is like their religion and stuff. You know what they
No,
do?
for,
with the
it's
fucking...
crazy how like it's like in their own fucking book. It literally says you can.
Dude, it's fucking horrible.
It's
These
permissible
guys,
to rape Goyim, bro.
dude,
Like,
I know. It's like
it's
ridiculous.
just out there and nobody fucking knows.
But they control
I'm a Flash.
everything, bro. They control even something like Christianity. People think, well, there's Jews, there's Christians, there's all sorts of stuff. The church, the Vatican Church, is full of pedophiles. Why is it that we're finding out every week, every year, there's some new pedophile at the church? It's like this Jewish system. The scriptures literally are so logical. If you read them for yourselves, it literally says that men are going to be tricked. It literally tells us that there's going to be a
120
Jew
Bram.
problem on earth. The Jews in the Bible, bro, the scriptures call the Jews the synagogue of Satan. It literally says they're like his descendants. They work for him. They worship him. Moses is literally in the desert with the Jews. Right after God punishes them, he says, "Get the fuck out. You Jews are too evil for Israel." In the Bible, bro, that's the story of the Creator. He says, "You Jews are too evil. Get the fuck out of the chosen land." Moses is in the desert with them, guiding them, and they start sacrificing people to Satan. Humans and kids and all sorts of shit. Moses is writing songs about it. It's like, the fuck is this, bro? Back to the oldest histories. Even if you don't believe the Bible, it's allegedly the oldest, knowledge that has been passed down verbally or written or whatever. All I'm saying is, the Jew problem is almost baked into Earth because, yeah, it quite literally is. It's like, it quite literally is. This is a world of God and the devil, bro. Humans are intelligently designed, and Jews are so evil, and they worship Satan, and Satan's whole goal is to basically disconnect you from the idea that, there's more to this world than just this human body, when there obviously is. But the good news is, you don't need to become religious. You don't need to change religions. Religion is fake. It's a control tool. That doesn't mean there's no intelligent design in it. It doesn't mean we didn't come from something or somewhere or whatever. And when you really look at this Earth, bro, it's a motionless Earth. There's just lights in the sky. All humans need to eat, except food just grows out of the floor infinitely forever. Water just falls out of the sky forever. And that's just always happened. And that's just what's happening on Earth, because God was like, oh, everyone's going to need to eat on Earth. I'll just make the food grow out of the sky, out of the floor, bro. Like, you eat an apple and there's one seed inside and that grows a whole apple tree. And then you're eating fucking apples for a lifetime. Like, what a pretty good system, bro. And it's like, and guess what? That fruit seed can mix with any other fruit seed and you can make a million different types of fruit. So it's like, oh, a pretty cool system, bro. And it's like, guess what? The fucking birds that God put in the creation in page 1, where it says he's going to put birds to spread the seeds so that all this shit is automatic for you. And it's like this insane system where you have a human body and you get to partake in it. But then it gets into really the deep shit. It's like, what are we? Where do we come from, bro? Where were you before you were a human, right? Like, where do thoughts even come from? Like, what even is intuition? That's a big one, honestly. You have a sixth sense. Everyone knows it. Everyone has something that they call a gut instinct, and everyone knows that typically, here's the lore about gut instinct. They say that it's usually true, right? Oh, trust your gut. I get bad vibes from this guy, and I was right. He was actually a fucked up guy, blah, 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 right? How does it know? It's because there's something in you that's literally more than just, I don't know, meat and electricity, right? There's like a spirit, there's something more. It's hard to put a word on it, and it doesn't really matter what it is, but it's like there's something more. There's actually scripture that says that we chose to incarnate here on earth, and we knew it would be kind of risky. And guess what? When you read scripture for yourself, God isn't evil. This place isn't a test. In fact, hell is a Jewish invention, bro. How many Christians believe in hell? It's never mentioned once in the original scriptures. Hell wasn't until the New Testament, until the Vatican Church shows up and starts saying, oh, there's new books to add to the Bible. And then they're teaching all the modern pastors, for example, in something called the Schofield Bible, which is like the Cliff Notes. It's like basically they rewrote it. And it basically said, oh, the Jews are the chosen people of God, which is like totally not true. It's literally completely inverted. It's completely backwards. But long story short, scripture literally says you don't need to be religious. You don't need to learn how to pray. You don't even need to worry about necessarily pleasing God. It's just that this is not a test. We chose to incarnate here, and we maybe knew it would be kind of risky. Because just think about it. If you were in some place that's eternal bliss, meaning nothing bad happens, I don't know, maybe you'd be a little fucking bored. So we literally chose to incarnate here. God made us a place where our spirits can incarnate in human bodies. It literally suggests we knew it would be risky, but ultimately it's not a big deal, because when you die, it's just like, oh, I was, experiencing that. My spirit
75
was
on
housed
stage.
inside my human body for 80 years or however long we have on Earth, and it was an experience, and then that's it. And it's like, that's super reassuring to know. And the fact that I don't even need to believe in that shit, because there's literally the scriptures which literally tell us about how Earth is flat and motionless, and how God made the sun, and how God made the fucking moon and shit like that. So it's like, oh, and guess what? The proof that we have souls is from a scripture that the church removed from the Bible.
Can you
Here's
buy me
something
your-
I've found. Anytime some Jew says that you should be banned from looking into something, or you shouldn't look into that, or the government is banning something, or the government, it's probably because it's good for you, or because there's something there, right? The people that are evil and in power, they don't want to give you the knowledge to like overthrow them, or to, to learn the truth or whatever. They want us to stay kind of in this, slave state. Why is it that the people on earth in society who make the most amount of money are like athletes and actors and e-celebs? Why do e-celebs make like $50 million a month or whatever? Because they're distracting us from reality. We're watching shows. People just watch sports on TV or whatever because it's just a distraction from reality. Anything to stop us from realizing that we're actually slaves, basically. We have to work for a whole lifetime to this Jewish dollar that's constantly losing value. Guess what? We've had free energy for like ever. In fact, you're in a sea of electricity and you can hook up a generator to the sky and you get free energy. Like, it's magic. And that's literally a real thing. That might sound like, oh, he's fucking crazy. People would have invented that, blah, 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 blah. No, we're literally just so disconnected from reality that we think that it's like some crazy thing that would be impossible. They don't want us to have access to it, though. They want you to think that energy is scarce and you need to pay for it, and you need to be paying your hydro bill every month. Imagine if you could have a greenhouse 24/7. Imagine if you could heat and cool your house anywhere in the world 24/7, because you're literally in the sea of electricity constantly. Just think about it, because you literally are. You are in a sea of electricity. There's so many radio stations that are being broadcasted in your room that you can't hear right now, but they're in this world of electricity. They're still there. You just can't hear them necessarily, right? All your Wi-Fi beams from your router and from your phone and from your that, they're somewhere. There's this electricity in the air, bro. There's literally something called wireless charging for phones. You just put your phone on a fucking pad, and somehow electricity goes through the air and into the phone battery and lets it keep going or whatever. It sounds like magic, but it's just like a real thing that's actually quite simple. It sounds like magic, but it's not. And it's because we're in this whole world of electricity. that was like electricity is just baked into the core of this reality. It's just how it works. The way your brain works is actually electricity. Like your brain is meat, sure, but it's the way that your brain actually works. When you look at the science, is like neurons are being activated by electricity. So different parts of your brain are being activated, and that's an electric process. So you're just meat and electricity, but it's obviously leading to like this super complicated human experience. But like, it's still cool to think about. You're basically an
I can flash
invention.
for you right now. Watch out.
We have meat and electricity on Earth. That's such a useless. We have meat and electricity on Earth, but it's like, why don't you make a human? Oh yeah, because you're missing that
1
fucking
HP.
that spirit element, right?
Shit.
Like, and plus we're not that smart. But it just goes to show you the type of creator that our creator is. He made the human body effortlessly, bro. Nothing a human can draw is more beautiful than what your eye shows you when you look around. When you just look around with your eye, think about what it's showing you. It's showing you Valorant on your screen right now. Like, what is that? It's literally just an electric process. Your eye is basically like a camera, and it's hooked up with wires to your brain. And using electricity, it's showing you that image. It's like, it's this insanely complicated, and yet it's all automatic. You don't even think about it. You just enjoy it. So it's like, that's literally, when you look at scripture, that's the point of life, is you're just here to enjoy it. You fucking actually chose to be here. So all these people who cry about how awful life is and how shit this place is, yeah, sure, but that's because Jews run everything and they're fucking evil. And they're literally ruining the whole human experience by keeping us enslaved and keeping us fighting and keeping us whatever. And all the news. Why is all the news, by the way? Look up who owns all the news stations. It's all Jews. It's literally, why is all the news left versus right? Man versus woman. White versus black. Versus cisgender. Transgenderism is a whole nother rabbit hole. Total Jewish invention. Again, Jews worship Satan. How is Satan depicted? Oh, Baphomet, the goat with tits, but it's really a man, but whatever. It's like this, it's their literal god. Literally part of Satanism, one of the core goals of Satanists is like they want to overcome the duality of gender and become one, and I don't know, some fucking weird. I don't really look into it because obviously it's evil shit and it's pointless. I don't care about that stuff. There's obviously men and there's obviously women. You don't get a choice on Earth. It's obvious. I don't need to tell you this shit. Anyone with the fucking brain is. But the fact that we're in this clown world, it's like, yeah, it just goes to show you how much we're programmed. Anyways, GG guys, the Jew problem is serious. But yeah, Flat Earth is true.